What's happening beneath Antarctica? How could these changes reshape the future of our planet? The latest findings from scientists around the world have left me deeply unsettled. The rapid developments in Antarctica are more than just scientific curiosities. They are alarming signs of a future we may not be prepared for. As global warming accelerates, we now face an additional and unforeseen threat. Antarctica is rising. The implications of this uplift, combined with the relentless melting of its glaciers, could drastically alter the course of human history. What was once thought to be a slow, millennia-long process is happening in just decades. And with each new discovery, it becomes harder to predict what might come next. Our world is changing rapidly, and with Antarctica at the center of this shift, the stakes couldn't be higher. The sudden uplift of Antarctica. A scientific revelation. In a surprising twist, researchers have found that Antarctica, long viewed as a stable and immovable mass of ice and rock, is rising at an unprecedented rate. This discovery challenges everything we thought we knew about the continent. As the ice sheets that cover Antarctica melt, the land beneath them is expanding upwards. Geologists from Ohio State University, including Terry Wilson, have confirmed that this uplift is occurring much faster than previously expected, with the land rising in decades instead of thousands of years. The underlying cause of this phenomenon lies in the loss of ice mass. As the glaciers melt due to global warming, Antarctica loses a significant amount of weight, reducing its gravitational pull. This reduced gravitational force means the ice is no longer held in place, causing more water to flow into the oceans and contributing to rising sea levels. The uplift is like a squeezed sponge, bouncing back into shape once the pressure is released, but in this case, the consequences are far-reaching. What makes this discovery so shocking is not just the rate at which Antarctica is rising, but also the potential ripple effects it could have across the world. As the continent lifts, more ice is likely to melt, and with it, the oceans will rise even faster than previous models predicted. If this trend continues, the rising land could have a profound and terrifying impact on the global climate and sea levels. Rising seas, a looming catastrophe for coastal cities. The connection between the melting of Antarctica's glaciers and the rise of global sea levels is well known, but the sudden uplift of the continent adds a new layer of complexity to the problem. Scientists have long warned about the dangers of sea level rise caused by global warming, but now it seems the problem could be far worse than anticipated. Current models suggest that if greenhouse gas emissions are not reduced significantly, sea levels could rise by as much as 19.5 meters, 64 feet, by the year 2500. Such an increase would be catastrophic for coastal cities around the world. Major population centers like New York, Miami, Mumbai, and Tokyo could be submerged, forcing millions of people to flee their homes and creating a massive humanitarian crisis. On the other hand, if the world can reduce its emissions, this terrifying scenario could be mitigated. Some researchers suggest that cutting emissions could lower the predicted sea level rise by up to 40%, but even this reduced figure would still pose a significant threat to coastal regions. The rapid uplift of Antarctica complicates these projections, making it even more difficult to predict exactly how much the seas will rise and how quickly. One of the most alarming aspects of this situation is the vulnerability of developing nations. Many of the countries most at risk of rising sea levels have contributed the least to global warming. Nations like Bangladesh, which is already battling severe flooding, and small island states like the Maldives, which could disappear entirely, are facing existential threats. This discrepancy highlights a profound climate injustice. Those least responsible for the crisis are often the most vulnerable to its effects. The domino effect, how Antarctica's rise could accelerate. Climate change. The uplift of Antarctica is not an isolated event. It's part of a broader series of changes that are reshaping the planet. Researchers, including Rob DeCanto from the University of Massachusetts, have warned that the sudden rise of Antarctica could trigger a domino effect, causing other parts of the world to experience similar disruptions. One of the main concerns is that the rapid uplift could destabilize other ice sheets, leading to more widespread melting. This would not only raise sea levels, but also alter weather patterns, potentially causing more severe storms, floods, and droughts across the globe. The interconnectedness of the Earth's systems means that a change in one region can have far-reaching consequences for others. Natalia Gomez, a researcher from McGill University, emphasized that the full impact of Antarctica's rise has yet to be fully understood. However, she cautioned that the effects could be devastating. As the ice continues to melt and the land continues to rise, millions of lives are at risk, particularly in coastal regions. The loss of ice and the rise in sea levels could lead to a cascade of other environmental disasters, from habitat destruction to the collapse of vital ecosystems. The possibility of a future in which entire cities are submerged and millions of people are displaced is not just a distant fear, it's a very real and immediate threat. The rapid changes happening in Antarctica are a warning that we cannot afford to ignore. A race against time, the future of Antarctica and the world. The speed at which Antarctica is rising and melting is a clear sign that we are running out of time to address the climate crisis. The scientific community is racing to understand the full implications of this phenomenon. But every new discovery seems to raise more questions than answers. Advanced technologies like LIDAR are helping scientists map the land beneath Antarctica's ice sheets. But there's still so much we don't know. One of the key challenges is understanding how the uplift of Antarctica will interact with other factors, such as the melting of Greenland's ice sheets and the thermal expansion of the oceans. The complexity of the Earth's climate system means that small changes in one area can lead to dramatic shifts elsewhere. The full scope of what we are facing may not become clear for decades, but by then it could be too late to stop the worst effects of climate change. As the evidence mounts, it's becoming increasingly clear that the world is entering uncharted territory. The uplift of Antarctica is just one piece of the puzzle, but it's a critical one. If we fail to act now, the consequences could be disastrous, not just for Antarctica, but for the entire planet. The future of our world depends on the decisions we make today. Conclusion: a terrifying warning for the future. The findings from Antarctica have left me deeply shaken. The rapid rise of the continent, combined with the accelerating melting of its ice, presents a terrifying glimpse into the future. The more we learn about these changes, the more uncertain our future becomes. Will we be able to slow the pace of global warming in time to prevent catastrophic sea level rise? Or are we already too late to stop the chain reaction set in motion by the collapse of Antarctica's ice sheets? As I reflect on the gravity of these findings, I am filled with a profound sense of fear and uncertainty. The developments unfolding in Antarctica are a stark reminder that the forces shaping our planet are far beyond our control. But even in the face of this overwhelming challenge, there is hope. By taking decisive action to reduce emissions and protect our environment, we may still be able to mitigate the worst effects of climate change. The future is in our hands, but time is running out.